Whenever you're ready.
All right. So today I'm going to be talking to you about the Netherlands, and I think one thing that nobody really knows about the Netherlands here is that they're the #2 exporter of food as measured by value, by dollar, and they're second only to the U.S. in the world. And the U.S. has over 270 times the land mass of the Netherlands, which is pretty incredible that we're right up there with them, or they're right up there with us. Sorry, wrong country for a second. That comes from an article titled "This Little Nation Feeds the World" by Frank Viviano, and it is part of the National Geographic magazine and it's published in September of 2017. All right. Today I intend to provide you all with basic knowledge of the Dutch people, their culture, and how they're an innovative society. I'm credible because I myself have Dutch roots on my mother's side, and I plan to travel there one day. I'm trying to do a golf program through ROTC, hopefully get that country, but don't get to choose. Anyway, yeah. So the Netherlands is generally an overlooked country. Like when you're going through your education system growing up in America, when we learn about Europe, we talk about France, England, Spain, stuff like that, Germany, but we don't really talk about the Netherlands. And this is the Netherlands. It borders the North Sea. There's France, Belgium, Germany, and England right there. And just in case you didn't know where the Netherlands was, they kind of have an unofficial motto, and it's "Welcome to the great nation of Holland, where the tulips grow, the breakfast is chocolatey, the people industrious, and the sea tries to drown it all." Because in the Netherlands, they have a real problem with because they're situated below sea level, and since they're right next to the sea, they have a lot of flooding issues. So they built a system of dikes to keep the water out. And the Netherlands, while maybe overlooked in a small country, they can teach us a lot about agricultural efficiency and stuff like that. All right, now that we kind of know where it is, we kind of know what it's about, we'll talk about some history. They were actually a colony of Spain, so it's kind of weird, it went Spain, France, and then the Netherlands, they just kind of jumped around. And then in 1587, they got tired of Catholic Spanish, and they're like, we're going to leave you guys. There was some fighting, but they left. They wanted to be a protectorate nation of England and France, but they didn't really want them, so they had to be on their own. And it didn't take long for them to start doing their own thing. Like I said, in 1587, they became independent, but by 1625, they had a colony in the New World, which was called New Amsterdam. And if you recognize that skyline, that is New York today, New York City. And yeah, major floods, like I described, that's kind of why they started becoming an innovative nation, because they didn't really have a choice. They had to solve problems or else they would have been underwater. And they're kind of like the British with their democracy, where they were set up as a kingdom, but more or less after World War II, the royal family is more just a symbolic role, and they have a democracy instead that actually does the political stuff. All right, now that we know some history, let's start to get to know the people. The population stands at around 17 million people, and it's a densely populated country with about 1,300 people per square mile. And you saw how small the country is, and so 1,300 people, 17 million people, that's not a lot of room. And that comes from the same article with Frank Viviano, published in 2017. 79% of that population is ethnically Dutch, so here in the United States, we're kind of a mix, but there it's really all the same. That being said, they still, they're really open. They take a lot of refugees from around the world, and they just don't make up that much of the population. But with that, 17 million, over half of the population is younger than 45 years old, so they're a pretty young country. And they're really big on art. Some famous artists, you might recognize their name from the Netherlands, are Vincent van Gogh and Rembrandt van Rijn. And they also have an internationally renowned ballet like center is called the National Ballet, and it's in Amsterdam, and they also have a Netherlands dance theater at Hague, and those are both internationally known, and that's from the Encyclopedia Britannica, 2017. They're also known for pastries. A lot of their breakfasts are like chocolatey and good and delicious, and their quality of life is actually better than ours. In 2015, it was among the top 10 in the world, which the U.S. did not achieve that. And that comes from the Holland Compared 2017. Now that we know some history and about the people, we can talk about how they're innovative. But there's a growing demand for food around the world. One quote puts that the planet must produce more food in the next 4 decades than all farmers in history have harvested over the past 8,000 years. And that's from Viviana 2017. So what they do is they created these greenhouse farm complexes where they just, grow things inside basically, so it's climate controlled. And through this, they have reduced their dependency on water by 90%, and they have almost completely eliminated the use of pesticides. The global mean for water required to grow just 1 pound of tomatoes is 25.5 gallons, and the Netherlands only averages 1 gallon of water for this pound of tomatoes. So there's a 24-gallon difference of water. The Netherlands have also become the top 5 in the world for producing chilies, green peppers, cucumbers, pears, carrots, potatoes, and onions. So basically, the Netherlands, they know what they're doing. They're pretty smart. In conclusion, the Netherlands has a rich history going back hundreds of years that has developed into a culture that has influenced the world through its trade and colonialism. Today, they influence the world more by being leaders in agriculture, production, and sustainability.
Awesome, great job.